Honestly, Nathan, all this information, it's a godsend. You've given me loads to work with here.
It's nothing really.
Now, there's just one last question I'd like to ask you. It's subjective, so take your time.
Sure. Fire away.
In your opinion, who's most to blame for all the suffering in Orio Castro? NATO? The guerrillas? CSAT? The Altis Armed Forces? Or, I don't know, something else?
So, hello there again. I just wanted to make this video because some people have been requesting that I do all of the options. So, in the actual playthrough that I did, we done the This is War option. So everyone was to really blame and no one could really be held accountable for what happened. So, let's start with the NATO option here. So NATO, because they had the means to make a difference, they should have forgotten. Fucking hell, my English. They should have fought harder to remain on Altus and enforce the peacekeeping mandate. Staging unsuccessful airdrops and ruining IDAP's supplies was not a positive action, and their invasion devastated the island, costing many lives. Yes, I'm sure.
I'd have to say NATO. I mean, they had the capacity to make a difference, you know? The airdrops were helpful, but it was never enough, and ultimately, their invasion caused more bloodshed. I don't know. If they just had the guts to stay in the first place, a lot of killing could have been avoided. And the folks here in Orio Castro, they're the ones that have suffered. They're the ones left to face the remnants of war.
So the next option is the FIA, otherwise known as the guerrillas. So the guerrillas, because they made the town a target, which they did, they hid a monster population, attacked a NATO peacekeeping recovering humanitarian aid, and commandeered civilian vehicles in order to build a barricade. And one of them even stole an IDAP ambulance. So let's listen to what Mr. Nick has got to say about this.
I'd have to say the guerrillas.
Sorry, Nathan.
I mean,
Fucking
without them,
hell.
there'd be no conflict, you know? They chose to dig deep into civilian infrastructure. They hid themselves among the population. I don't know, these guys didn't give a damn about what it cost. They wanted power and would do anything to get it. And the folks here in Orio Castro, they're the ones that have suffered. They're the ones left to face the remnants of war.
CSAT, because they destabilized the region, they exploited a tense situation and employed the Altus Armed Forces. Their special forces orchestrated a deadly cluster strike, causing massive amounts of collateral damage. Many were killed, including a doctor working for the IDVAP.
I'd have to say CSAT. I mean, before they stepped in, pushed NATO out, there was a ceasefire in place, albeit a delicate one, you know? And that cluster strike took the whole thing to the brink. There was so little to gain from such a terrifying show of force. I don't know. The whole thing felt like a power play from the get-go. One big pissing contest. It always is. And the folks here in Orio Castro, they're the ones that have suffered. They're the ones left to face the remnants of war.
So, the AAF, the Altus Armed Forces. The Altus Armed Forces, because they made an example of the town, they relied on fear and intimidation, meting out collective punishments. Furthermore, when defending against NATO's offensive, landmines were randomly dispersed around the church. There were also reports that wounded combatants were executed from the attack.
I'd have to say the Altus Armed Forces. I mean, they wanted to wipe Orio Castro off the map, to make an example of it, you know? It's one thing fighting against a resistance. It's another to make the civilian population pay for it. I don't know. As they clung on to power, they wound up scarring the very country they'd pledged to protect. And the folks here in Orio Castro, they're the ones that have suffered. They're the ones left to face the remnants of war.
So, this is the last option out of the 5. Now, this is the one I chose in the mini campaign playthrough that I've done on the channel. This is war option. So, no one can really be held accountable. Everyone had a hand in the suffering or Castro. Now, this is in my opinion, this is the right one. Now, this is the one that puts all sides on it, because obviously there were so many missed gaps in the storyline. Not missed gaps, but it was kind of bits could be open for interpretation. a bit like the CSAT strike. Well, I put that in quotation. CSAT strike on the town, the castle that was in the second one. I'm pretty sure, or the third one. My memory's not the greatest, but NATO, then Mr. God, with the sheep farmer, not the sheep farmer, fucking I'm Welsh, but with the farmer saw what supposed to be CSAT, but then we were told it could have been NATO. Now, I'm not really sure. Obviously, this is why I chose this one, because this puts all of the sides into the table. Put them all the sides onto the table, and it will, because at the end of the day, everyone fought part of this war, and everyone is accountable, in my opinion. So let's just press, oh sure, yeah, let's go.
I'd have to say, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think it's quite so black and white. It's more black and gray. Hell, gray and gray, No one side can be held accountable for the bloodshed here. No one action got us where we are now. I don't know. What can we do? Just double down on our efforts. Heal the wounds. And the folks here in Oreo Castro, they're the ones that have suffered. This is the reality. This is war.
I am flesh and I am bone, rise up, ting ting like glitter and gold. I got fire in my soul, rise up, ting ting like glitter.